What's up, Marie?
What's up, Dr. John? Thank you so much for your time today. I really appreciate it.
Thank you for your time. I appreciate it. What's happening? Without you, we don't have a show. So what's up?
So I guess my big overall question is, am I allowed to issue ultimatums in my marriage?
How old are you?
I am 40. I'll be 44 next month.
You are allowed to do whatever you want. It might be dumb, but you can do whatever you want.
Is it advised to issue ultimatums in my marriage?
All right. How have you got all the way to the edge where you're ready to shove him off the edge? Or no, you're actually ready to allow him to jump off the edge himself, right?
Well, and that's. I feel like I'm holding on to him as he's trying to jump off, and so trying to prevent that. So we've been married for 12 years. We have 3 kids, 6, 8, and 10, that require a lot of attention. It kind of all started in 2018. Our youngest turned 1, and he just kind of started to check out of parenthood and our marriage. He was on his phone all the time. He stopped working out. He slowly stopped contributing financially to our household. He didn't want to play with the kids. And he, as far as affection between us, we were still connected, but it wasn't that emotional intimacy. That definitely started to go away quickly. I've always had pretty demanding jobs, and I still do, but in last year, taking on the job I have now, I actually work a lot less hours, and I was able to have the opportunity to breathe and look up and look around and realize just how unhappy I was with the state of our marriage, with the state of our whole family, like how our children were being raised. And
Can I lob something in here real quick?
Yes, sir.
Don't say sir. Come on. Is there a chance that after baby number 3 was born, he did the same thing? You were just too busy to hear him?
I can't say 100% for sure, but I don't feel so. I feel like he retreated and didn't want to talk. Like there weren't any issues for him.
Okay. If under the guy's behaviors of language, I think there were clearly issues.
Yes.
He may not have the tools, or more appropriately, he did not see it as important enough. He didn't see it important enough to go get those skills ASAP, because his whole life as he knew it was coming to a screeching halt. But clearly there were problems too.
Yes, and that's one of my ultimatums is therapy for him. Mm-hmm. He has very big abandonment issues that he'll admit to, but refuses for some reason to want to seek help for. Okay. And it definitely affects our marriage, and it affects his relationship with our kids. And it's frustrating that he just is like, oh, I'll go to therapy. But then when I say, well, did you talk to your therapist about this? His literal response is, well, that's none of his business. And I'm like, okay.
Awesome. Therapy's going to be incredible.
Yes.
Wow. Okay. So I don't frown on ultimatums. Okay. But most people underestimate them. Mm-hmm. So this is probably the worst analogy I could think of. Okay. But here's my comparison. There's been like a cool hip thing, the cool thing in the South is, I don't know how it is in the North, but everybody's carrying, or it seems, right? Everybody's carrying a weapon for their protection, right? Mm-hmm. And few people have been either in an active situation, or have been in active training situations, or have been in aftermath situations, which are caustic. They change your life. Just seeing, right? Mm-hmm. And I remember my friend Sean Ryan. He's got a Sean Ryan show. He had a guest on who was he's a SEAL, a former SEAL, a former CIA operative, and he had a Special Forces guy on there, and they were talking to each other about reentry. But how do you go from the wildest situations in the world, the most unsafe, dangerous places on earth, and then get dropped into a neighborhood, right? And they got to talking about, hey, do you carry? And the guy said something, and I remember, I just heard it. I mean, I was doing something else at the time, but I remember stopping and going, yes, that's it. And the guy said, yes, I do carry. This is his guest, a former Special Forces operator. But I don't carry to flex. I don't carry to get into a showdown. If this gun comes out of the holster, either me or that other person will no longer be alive. Meaning, like, this is not a game. This isn't like a way that I can pull it out and be like, hey, bro, I'm carrying. Let's calm down. If anyone sees this gun, it's because it's being used to get me and my family out of a situation, to defend the helpless, or somebody's about to hurt me. And so it was a great antidote to all of this. Like, oh, I'll just show them. Like, man, that's not how you do that. That's how you end up in a mess. Similar, ultimatums are the same to me. Like, you can feel empowered. No, I'll say this. You must feel empowered to say without pause, without hesitation, what you need in your relationship, what you will not deal with anymore, and what you want. And if you issue that in the form of an ultimatum, cool. But you have to be prepared for him to look at you and say, I'm not doing that. This is not just something where you've got a gun in your belt and you pull your shirt up just to say, like, I will. If you're going to put an ultimatum on the table, you do this or I'm out. You have to be willing to go.
Yeah, I guess.
Does that make sense?
It does, and so, I think maybe some of it is me trying to get my power back.
Yeah.
When I told him in November that I was unhappy and I wanted us to go to couples therapy, he, very out of character, but became very verbally abusive.
What does that mean? Was he verbally abusive, or was he just being an idiot?
Well, maybe just being an idiot. We have had several situations where he has, and I don't want to say physically trapped me, but made me feel trapped in a room and proceeded to berate me one time for 2 hours, call me names, accuse me of things, sometimes things that he didn't even remember saying the next day.
Yeah, he did.
Or couldn't
he did.
And so it's just, I told him 2 weeks ago that we needed to physically separate because the verbal altercations had started happening in front of our kids. We were trapped in a car with the three of them, and he was screaming at me and accusing me of something the kids were telling him I didn't do. And at that point, I was just done. I want us to be able to come back together and be a family and have the future that we talked about when we were dating and got married. But I need him to get help, and I just don't know how else to do that.
I got that. And I totally hear you. And I don't know if hopefully you don't need my permission, but absolutely you need a physical separation. You and your kids need to be in one place and he needs to be in somewhere else. Preferably, he is a person of character and integrity, and he will go somewhere else for 30 days. You can look at, you can Google Terry Reels. We'll put it in the show notes. Terry Reels rules for separation. Have to have a date, have to have a time. All that's good. But if he's not, you have to protect your kids. What I don't like about this story is the trajectory, the trend line. It sounds like he's escalating.
Yes, and he, like, we're trying to, because we're in couples therapy, and so we're trying to continue our homework, which is that one night a week we just try to spend time together for an hour, and one night a week we sit down and talk about an issue for an hour. And Sunday we were supposed to sit down and talk about an issue, and he just could not seem to help himself from, like, saying nasty things to me or accusing me of stuff.
You guys get up and walk out.
Yeah, I told him I'm not going to tolerate it.
Good.
I think.
But hold on. Did you though?
No, I told him we would stop the conversation if he was going to continue down that path.
Did he stop?
Yes.
Okay, good for you.
But then he started to spiral into, I don't know what I believe anymore. I don't know if I believe in God anymore. Like this, like, I'm definitely concerned about his mental health, but I know I'm other than our couples therapy, and even that, I can't force him to do anything about it.
Right. That's where you want him to get well, and the most heartbreaking thing is standing shoulder to shoulder or eyeball to somebody that you love, and they won't, and you can't make him. But he's crossed a line where you have to take care of yourself and be safe, and you got to take care of those kids and be safe. And so I don't know that ultimatum is the right word here as much as I am forcing the issue on a separation because you're not safe. And he's getting worse and worse and worse, and his spirals are getting more outbursty. They're getting closed spaces. He's getting more and more physical with you, louder and louder. I'm just not gonna subject our kids to that. And by the way, I'm worth that. Nobody in my world, nobody in my professional life talks to me that way. Nobody on the street talks to me that way. I'm not going to let the one guy who told God and his family that he would be my ride or die. I'm not going to let you talk to me like that. You know what I mean?
Yeah. And I think it's just hard. Like
it is. There's nothing about this is easy. But you're gonna have to choose your heart. Are you gonna stay in this mess, or are you gonna choose the other hard path, which is I am gonna be the adult here because he can't be or won't be, and I'm gonna separate out. Both paths are miserable. Both paths are brutal. One path leads to safety and to some potential for healing. The other is escalating at a pace that I don't like.
Being separated, how do we figure out when it's good to come back together?
So with your therapist, you say this is happening, and you would like the therapist to participate in helping you come up with the ground rules.
Okay.
And print those off. But the important thing is it's for a very specific date. For this day to this day, here's what has to happen in the interim. Here is the date and time and location when we'll come back together in the room.
Okay.
And that way there's some boundaries to it. It's not just this endless thing, and you'll finally get some peace, and then you'll move the yardstick on him, or he'll have one good day and be like, see, it's all better. And that way we can say, here's the boundaries to this.
Yeah, that's my fear is we'll be separated and things will feel good and comfortable because, we're not fighting with each other all the time, but then we come back together and it's just going to go back to what it was.
Well, and that's what the healing process is going to be about. And if he does go and do the work, and he does get down on both knees and beg for your forgiveness, and y'all choose to, what you had is over, but if y'all choose to build something new, that's amazing. And you're going to have to teach your body, you're going to have work to do to teach your body that, hey, he used to not be safe and he is now.
Yeah, that's what I'm working on with my therapist right now. It's just trusting myself.
But he's not. Your body's right. You're trying to override the system so you can keep this pretty picture in your head stable. Fair?
Yeah, my best friend says I'm always making excuses for him.
Okay. Listen to the people who love you the most.
It's so much different when you're in it.
I know. And here's the important thing I want you to hear. The reason your close friends are super important, the reason a professional who does this for a living, who's a neutral third party is important, is for just this moment. When you go offline, when your body is just trying to survive, we don't see things as they really are. It just feels like clouds and smoke and fire, and getting somebody else to say, hey, I just see you becoming somebody you're not, or you're always making excuses for this guy, or, hey, you are not safe. Then you can go, okay, I may not see it in this moment, but I trust y'all.
Yeah, I know I have some people that would definitely want me to say that.
I know.
I trust you over myself.
Let the people around you love you. You're real tough in your professional life, aren't you?
Unfortunately, I don't have a choice.
Well, you do, but that's the choice. I mean, you chose that profession. You're real tough. Yes. And I just want to say this before we depart. I think a lot of the challenge here for you is you run the show. What do you do for a living? Give me a broad category.
I So I manage all of the engagements with high-level officials for the commanding general of an Army base.
There you go. You tell men what to do for a living. Right?
Yes.
And so there is some cognitive dissonance that you can't make this one at home work. You have all these other people, all these multi-million dollar contracts. They all do what you say, and I can't get this one to work, and it makes you feel crazy. Is that fair?
Yes.
Okay. It's not on you. He has to decide he wants something different. What it is on you is to protect yourself and to protect those kids.
Yes.
Okay? And so if you're ready to, hey, you do these 3 things or I'm filing on you, that's an ultimatum. It's if this gun comes out of the holster, somebody's going to the hospital. I don't think you're at ultimatum stage, but I definitely think you're at separation stage because the house is too electric. When he walks in that door, or you walk in that door, you are fight or flight. There's no learning. There's no being at peace. His body feels that, and it goes, y'all just in this weird cycle and a weird dance. We're going to back all the way out. We're going to back out. But your gut instinct is right. The friends who love you are right. Your therapist is right. And you're right. It's going to be real hard. But you're worth the pain right now to either get to the healing in your marriage or to be able to let the smoke and fire clear and find a healthy place for you and those kids to live. I'm proud of you. This is hard. I'm proud of you. Call anytime, Marie. I'll walk with you.